Don't get over here and shake on me. I knew you were going to do that. Farther. Hey. Well, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Outpost Review. I thought I'd bring the beast down here to the creek and let him cool off a little bit before we settle in for the night. It's actually not, I don't know, I'd say it's probably 45 degrees maybe, but he certainly likes it. Ready? It does him good to come down here and cool off. The only problem is every once in a while he'll shake on me and or the camera. He shook on Jennifer today and she about had a fit. But anyway, you know, there's only certain portions of this creek that are so deep. It mainly through the summertime probably runs about 6 inches. So I tried to bring him down here to the deepest part where he can kind of get most of his body in there. This creek didn't used to make this big bend. It actually came right in here, but it started turning and it's eroding a lot of my field away. So at some point, probably when everything dies down, I may try to get the tractor off down in here and scoop that out, push it back over there and redirect it to where it doesn't want to run that way. Because it used to flow fairly straight, but anymore it's just zigzag, and it, like I said, it's eroding good soil away. Are you having fun in the creek? Are you having fun? Hey. Well, my son will be here in a couple of days, actually, and I've got the canoe all rigged up, ready to go. We are going camping. One of the nights while he's here, we're going to, weather permitting, we're going to watch for the weather, and we're going to try to catch and cook our dinner when we do this camp over. And from what I understand, from where we put in, we've got about a mile to paddle to an island where we're going to stay. So Patrick number 2 is going to go with us as well with my son, Patrick number 1. So that should be a lot of fun. Kind of looking forward to that. I've been spending some time with the canoe rigging up ways to set the GoPro up and other things to be able to take you all along with us and video it. So you ready to go? behind me here over my shoulder is a church pew under that big tarp. It's 15 feet long, and they had to get rid of it because they're doing some renovation and didn't have any room for it. They had it downstairs in the fellowship hall, but then they were redoing some things and changing things around there. And instead of just giving it or throwing it, away, they called me and asked me, did I want it? Could I use it for the oak wood? Well, my original thoughts were to make some kitchen countertops, but there's not enough material to do the L portion in my kitchen. So my second thought was up here at the outdoor kitchen to cut it on a 45 and put it up there and then build like a stand-up table in front of those for people to eat by instead of a picnic type table. But then the pastor suggested that I set it on the front porch when the front porch is done. So it will go from the door to the end, but what I think I'm going to do is cut it in the middle. I'll make two ends where I cut it, and then I'll put one on one side of the front door underneath the kitchen window, and then the other one probably sit them between the two big windows right there. That'd kind of be evenly spaced and have a nice cushioned pew, basically, to set in on the front porch. So, the Lord always blesses and provides for us in some way. I thought, well, maybe I'll get that swing that was given to me. Maybe I would rebuild or kind of build one similar to that and hang it on the front porch. But these would actually be stationary, and they've been around a long time, and then they need to continue to live and support those of us who have a deep connection to them. So I think that, like I said, what I'll do is I'll just cut it in the middle, put one on each side of the front door, and the gnats are pretty bad, and that will serve as my seating arrangement for the front porch when we get it done. I'm going to turn around and show you the canoe I've been working on. So this is actually the front of the canoe. I mounted a piece right here that I can actually attach my GoPro to. I attached a mounting bracket right here, which is just basically sticky tape on the bottom. Then I also drilled and tapped this one right here where I can actually raise and lower the GoPro if I need to. I have a unit inside that screws on the top that will swivel and it'll go up and down. So I know it's not, because of the plastic right here, but the GoPro is not that heavy. But I've got this mounted in here now for that, and I'll show you another one that I did. Now this seat right here is generally where I would sit if I need to clean the back of that, if I was in here by myself. Okay, so I mounted another one right here facing that direction. I also have a piece that actually extends up like this and then has another one of these ends on the end where I can adjust the GoPro. The only thing is it doesn't have the swivel portion on it. It's just basically directional up and down. Anyway, but yeah, if I'm by myself, I can either mount it up there before I leave and just turn it on and take off, or I can have it back here where I can actually control it. But I mounted this one right here. I've got several of these stick-on type, so that will provide me a way to be able to video not only going through the lake or the river, but also fishing and catching and stuff like that. So I just spent a little bit of time today working on it and rigging it up, getting ready for my son when he gets here for the overnighter that we're going to do. But this is a 14-foot canoe, and it's got a place for storage right here. It does have the middle seat. This will be Smokey's first time of being in a canoe around the lake. What I may have to do is tie the leash to him and kind of tie it down to where he can't move too much, so that he doesn't jump off into the deep water, rushing down the river. Not that it's that swift, but anyway, we don't want him jumping out until he gets used to riding around in the canoe. But it's big enough, you know, to haul supplies with. It's not that heavy. It weighs, I think, 45 pounds. And with the new receiver carry-all, I guess is what you want to call it, that I built, it should work really well. So I was thinking about getting myself a kayak too, a one-man kayak. The only problem with that is I would have to have somebody pretty much watch the dog, because I don't think that there's enough room in there. And you know, they're a lot shallower than the canoe here. Now, the good thing about this canoe is it's a flat bottom. That's primarily why I bought it. It's not a V bottom. And I actually, you know, the funny thing was, regular, I think they were $7.79 or something like that. So the place where I bought it, I went in there and it had a couple of blemishes. Of course, I've had it for a while now. I can't really remember what the blemishes were, but they had it on sale for, I think it was $200 off, which would have made it $579. So I told him, I said, do you have any more of those in stock? And he said, no, this is the only green one that we have. And I said, well, where's the manager? So the manager came down, and I said, hey, you can't sell this as new because it's got some blemishes. And I said, but I want to buy it. I said, I don't mind to order another one. He said, no, the sale is just on what we currently have. And I said, well, what would you take for it as is? And so he said, what I will do is I will knock another $100 off. So that made it $479, right? So he wrote that down, and then when I went up to pay, I had some other items, and the person at the counter was trying to add in another discount. And the computer kept messing up. So the manager comes over there, and he took, I said, now remember, you're going to give me $100, an extra $100 off. So he took the extra $100 off the $479 and made it ended up being $379. Of course, I didn't realize it at the time because of the other stuff that I ordered. I paid for it and I left, and I got back to work because I was actually working that day, and I thought to myself, something doesn't seem right. And I got to looking at it, and he charged me $379 for this, and normally they were $779. So I pretty much basically got it for half price. So, like I said, you know, God is good. He blesses us, and that was certainly well appreciated that day. I've been spending some time actually collecting some kindling for the rocket stove. This right here is some lumber that actually busted up right here into fine kindling to feed the rocket stove. And then of course this is some bark, and then these are a bunch of small dried sticks that I picked up right there. And the other day, when we were milling lumber, I actually came up with, this all came from one tree. I came up with a whole box of that rosin, or the pine sap, and some of these, you know, they're big, thick chunks right there. So there's enough right there to start fires till this time next year. But it only takes just a small portion. Actually, if I break off a piece that's too big, what I've been doing is just putting it in this small little tin right here. And then the next time I start a fire, I use it. It's just an Altoids tin. But see, it only takes just a small piece and that'll burn for a good while. This one I'd probably bust it in half. But yeah, I'll tell you what, that is a great natural resource. Well, I actually had somebody, no, honestly several people, and they told me that they use netting over their cabbage, their broccoli, and their cauliflower, and plants like that. So that's something that I can try. I've also had several replies of people saying that they just use regular dish soap with some water and spray. I even had some saying that they use regular wood ash, which I have a lot of that because it comes out of the fireplace and it comes out of the stove in the house, and sprinkle that on there that the bugs don't like it, and it also increases the pH of the garden. You know, I tried the organic pesticide that I could find at Lowe's, but that just didn't seem to work at all. So I tried the 7 dust liquid form. That didn't seem to work. So I think that I will try some of these other suggestions next year and see if I can't remedy, you know, because primarily that's the only plants in the garden that have been bothered. You know, the tomatoes, the beans, the cucumbers, the corn, the peppers and the onions, none of that has been bothered. So that's probably something that I will try next year. You know, I'll give one of them a shot. If it doesn't do well for me here, then I'll try one of the others. But those were really good suggestions from the comments that I received. I just read another one. This is a new one. It says that her grandmother used starch on her plants to repel bugs. Now, I've never heard of that, but that's another suggestion. And you know, sometimes grandmas know what they're talking about because they've probably done it for a number of years. Here's another one if you all haven't heard of it, but this comes from Spain. They say that powdered sulfur is widely used for all types of plants apart from being a fertilizer. It's very effective against animals, worms, spiders, aphids, etc., and also prevents fungi and bacteria. So there's another suggestion. You put it in a jar with a perforated lid and sprinkle all the leaves of your plants. You do this at sunset and you will see how you keep your garden free of these bugs and parasites. So there's another suggestion. I got lots of good suggestions on here. Somebody suggested that I put the chickens in the garden. You know, I would like for the chickens to be able to run around, but Smokey walks that fence line eyeballing those chickens, and he actually dashed into the chicken house one day when I was in there putting them up on the roost. And so I know that it wouldn't do any good for them to be out here, and he could actually make his way through that fence if he wanted to. He just doesn't know that, but I don't want to motivate him any. But no, I think some of these other suggestions will be a good idea to try next year. So another idea that I have, another project that's coming along, because somebody had made a comment that in the winter the hill's going to be slick. Well, but one of the projects that I've got, and I've mentioned this before if you've watched this channel for some time, is the church actually has some railroad ties that are still in good shape. So I'll utilize what I can of those. I'm going to start down there at the corner of that tiny house and come around by the wood shed here and come up to the steps of the outdoor kitchen, and I'll spread it out so far. You know, there's no need to have a big wide path, just enough to walk on. And that pile of gravel that I've got down there, I will spread gravel in between those and have myself a walkway. And then I'll continue probably using, you know, some trees that were cut down or something, and lay them, you know, parallel with each other and kind of work my way up through the corner of the woods, not actually following this path, but through the corner of the woods up to the chicken house. That way, primarily, I'm not worried about slipping. I am worried about getting all muddy and tracking that into the cabin. So having a gravel walkway will certainly help to be able to not, because, you know, in the wintertime when it rains and it's wet and then it snows, you know, everything just stays muddy. There's not enough heat nor sunshine during the day to dry it out. So all winter long it pretty well stays nasty. But that will provide me a walkway up and down. The rest of it's gravel. Before I get if I don't get the back deck done, I'll probably spread either, a little bit of gravel or some planks that I can walk on. I do need get the gravel in here and kind of get, start getting it cleaned up a little bit. The cabin's coming along great, so that is another project that I'll be working on. Another person commented, I don't know how many people see it, because I've had some comments about the ads. Like I said, YouTube puts those in there, and he suggested that he said that he subscribed to YouTube Premium and never sees ads except those the video creator puts in himself as content. Like if we have a company that sponsors us, and they send us a tool item, and then I basically use it and talk about it to you all, that's what he's talking about. The video creator puts it in himself. He said it costs $13.99 a month. He says, but I don't have TV at all. He said, so I figured that I'm saving at least $100 a month by doing that. So, that is a good idea. Somebody also mentioned that the chickens dying could have been due to snake bite. I'll be honest with you. I grew up here since I was probably around 11 years old in this area and lived here for quite some time. I did move to Texas for about 10 years and then moved back. But in this area that I'm at, I know they have to be around. They could be, higher up on the mountains, but I have never seen a rattlesnake. I have never seen a copperhead. Primarily all I ever see is a black snake. And I try not to kill those, because they do catch rats and mice and, things that would be a nuisance to you. But yeah, I know I seen a snake one time, but it ended up being a corn snake, which was not a copperhead. But and that's the only one that I've ever seen, and I've been here for years. So, I know that they're around. There are some areas of the county where you talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, we have them. So I know that, they have to be around. It's just you would think that I would have seen them by now. But, I'm thankful that I haven't. But, I've seen already this year, I've seen, I think, 3 black snakes. But I actually got one down the woodpile down there, but I let him live there, because if there's any kind of, like I said, rat, mice, or thing like that around here, that he'll take care of them. Somebody wanted to know, was the gravel expensive? I ordered I think it's 23 tons. It's a triaxle truck when they come, and it is right at $540 for a triaxle truckload. That does the whole driveway coming up here, and then you've seen that big mess that I had left. He wanted to know, he said, do you want me to back down and come back up again? I said, no. I said, just dump it right here, because I had plans for it. I did spread a little down there where where other people could actually turn around, when they came up here, and just make it easy for, when it was rainy, that they didn't get their tires muddy. Like Jennifer, she likes hers nice and black. But it's not all that expensive, and you can't really pave the driveway here, because if it ever got ice or if it rained and it froze, you have no traction. Down the hill you would go, or you'd have to ride the ditch down. And that's one reason that I had that driveway gradually turn, and I had it banked into the bank here, so that if I did slide, I would slide into the ditch and I could ride the ditch all the way down. But yeah, the gravel, it's not that expensive. When I first dug the house seat up here, I had a truckload, and then I kind of packed that down when I was coming back and forth. Then I ordered 2 truckloads. They spread one on the driveway, and then the other one I had him dump some up here, and I kind of spread it around with the tractor, in front of the sawmill and the area kind of where I wanted it. and made myself an area to work from up here. But yeah, it's not that expensive. I had a guy comment from Sweden. He said that he loves the series and just wondering why that I did not insulate the interior walls. The other cabin that I built, I did. I don't figure that, you know, because see, I don't have any ceilings in there, so I'll have free airflow from one room to the next. And I've got 5 ceiling fans that I'm going to be putting in there too. So by not having a ceiling, you know, air is going to be moved continually, even in the summertime when I reverse the fans. So I really didn't see the reason to insulate them. It's just me up here, you know, because basically it's just really providing a sound barrier, I think, because I can't trap heat in one of the rooms. I can't keep it from escaping because I'm not going to have a ceiling. And, you know, warm air rises, right? So that's the reason I'm putting in so many ceiling fans, to push it around the house and push it back down. So that's the reason that I didn't put it in there, because it's just an extra cost, and you know, I didn't really figure that I needed it. When I was younger and the kids were growing up, you know, they were small, I did insulate the other rooms in the other cabin, all of the rooms actually, but I really didn't see the need for the expense. Somebody commented and says, take your time on what you're doing, it gives us more to watch. Believe me, there's going to be a whole lot to watch, because I've got, I don't know, I probably have another half a dozen major projects to do that's going to take me some time. A workshop with an extension on it to park the tractor, a barn, a root cellar, the base camp down there, an entrance, a really nice entrance that I'm going to make down there where you turn and come up the driveway. I mean, there's a whole lot still left to do, so we're going to be doing videos for a long time. Lord willing, my health continues to hold up. We'll be doing videos for quite some time. You know, another thing that's funny, they're talking about my legs in these shorts, that I should put some of that dark stain on the legs. What is it with people about white legs or needing to be tanned? I just, you know, I don't care what people actually think about my legs. Had a comment I thought was pretty funny. I started laughing about it, wanted to know, was that me or was I riding a chicken? Which I've used that before. Primarily it was just people that had skinny legs, not white legs. But, you know, like I said, if I'm working in the woods, I'll put pants on. I don't mind running around inside the cabin or working around down here, you know, but if I'm in the woods, I'll put pants on. Like, you know, I know that, because, you know, when you get off into the woods, there's lots of briars, there's lots of pokies, you know, there's lots of poison and stuff like that, and I just don't want it on my legs to be able to, you know, have to scratch them. So the legs don't see that much sun, you know, but yeah, I never was one big into trying to tan or get tan. I guess I had a farmer's tan, because when I took my shirt off, you know, basically my arms were tan from here down, the rest of me was white, but you know, what the heck, who cares? Anyway, but I did think that was pretty funny. Alright guys, it's getting late. I'm going to go ahead and shut the video down here. I really do appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with me on the Outpost review channel. So if you're new to this channel, be sure and go check out Smoky Mountain Outpost. That's our main channel. There's a whole lot less talking and a whole lot more working on that channel. But you know, my son, my daughter and I, we can't thank you enough for supporting both of our channels and sharing that with your family, friends, and neighbors. Thank you so much. And again, if you're new, go to our website and check out, because we do monthly giveaways. All of the details, you will find them there. So guys, we hope that you have a great afternoon. Take care, and we look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time. Don't get over here and shake on me.